Hello, everybody. I'm Alexander Rubian with the New Jersey Second Amendment Society.
Daniel Francisco here. I've been telling you to do this for years. I came on a year ago with you and tried to set up this studio. We've had conversations about what the right way to approach, the battle in New Jersey is. I'm so glad this is finally happening.
I know. Listen, as we told our guests and our members and our supporters before, it's been a crazy time at NJ2AS. Trying to get the studio together. I apologize for any delays. I don't need you rubbing it in. You've been nagging me all day, and one of the worst days possible. I've just been so busy with my own personal business. We've been so busy with NJ2AS, especially what's going on in Jackson. So I appreciate the consistency and your persistency when it comes to.
You can rhyme. It's good.
Yeah, I know. Look at that. So
listen. Let's do a quick intro. Let's tell the story that 6 people in New Jersey haven't heard about May 25th. Talk about how you got into this movement. What inspired you to get involved?
Yes, long story short, I was walking home May 25th, 2011. It's actually coming up soon. I heard a scream behind me, and apparently 3 teenagers jumped this father walking home from work, and he was killed. He was shot to death by these 3 gang members. They were doing it for fun. Of course, if the news first came out, they were talking about how it was supposed to be about it was some gang rival stuff, but I ended up doing an Oprah request and found out that they just killed him for fun. Became a Second Amendment activist, and here we are today, 9 years, almost 9 years later since it happened. And maybe you want to talk about what you've been up to and what you do.
Yeah, again, I'm Daniel Francisco. I've known Alexander now for about 6 years. I used to work for an organization called Project Veritas, and they were asked to do a speech at a gun range up in North Jersey on behalf of NJ2AS. And when the main speaker didn't show up, I actually filled in, and that's when I became friends with Alex, and it kind of budded from there. I actually didn't grow up with firearms at all. My father was in the military in Europe, but never had guns around the house growing up, didn't know anything about them. When I got my first job out of college, I worked in a very dangerous area, and all of my coworkers told me, "You're stupid if you don't carry a gun." And this was a place where it was Connecticut. We were lawfully allowed to carry if you got a carry permit. So I got into it there, and it just stuck with me. And as soon as I got really into politics and in that world, my number one most passionate issue is absolutely the Second Amendment. So when I saw that, in my opinion, this was a group that was doing what I coined, the phrase of the most results-oriented activism, and that's why I'm drawn to the group and why I want to see it succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess for the people that are watching this or listening to this, depending on what platform you're downloading, I want to talk about basically results-oriented activism. How did we get involved? How are we effective, activists when it comes to the Second Amendment? The big news has been coming out about Jackson. We thought that was going to be a much more complicated thing. Ended up being very easy. But there's a lot of revelations that are coming forward, especially with the police chief contacting us and what's been happening with that. So, it just goes to show, when we all work together, right? When we focus on one issue, one target, right? One town, one individual that's violating the law, and we have no distractions around us, right? That's what creates effective activism. And if you think about the opposition, let's say these anti-gun groups, let's just call them anti-American groups, right? If you don't believe in the right to bear arms, you're anti-American. You're not an American. End of discussion. And and the reason why I say that is people always tell me, well, if you want to carry your gun, go move in another state. Well, how come that doesn't apply for other people that hate the Second Amendment, hate the right to bear arms, and so forth? So that's why I make that comment.
Well, it doesn't matter that people are anti-gun. I don't care. You can not carry a gun or not buy a gun or not want to shoot a gun, not want to see a gun. No one cares. It's your right to have those opinions. Just don't infringe on me telling me I can't. That's the real crux. And look, New Jersey, we talk about this point all the time and what makes us tick here. This is a culture war, and it's not a conversation about guns, right? People in the state, when they define everything in their reality through a prism that is not the way we think, right? So we can't go up to politicians in New Jersey. We know all the players that you've been after the last several years, the people in power now. You really can't go and have a conversation that's about constitutionality and legal rhetoric. They don't understand it, okay? So what is it that makes NJ2AS different that puts them in a position to be more successful?
Exactly. And
what is it I'm asking?
Well, okay, so that was a good question. And it's basically what I've learned the most from you. It's about identifying and isolating the individual, the enemy, the people that are infringing on your rights. It's about exposing the hypocrisy. It's about exposing the corruption. And one of the things that we started doing was exposing the people that have concealed carry permits. Right? They're quick to take our guns away. They're quick to take away our ability to protect ourselves, but they surround themselves with armed guards. And if they believed in the strength of their own convictions, they would disarm Trenton, their personal bodyguards, and their personal offices, right? But why don't they do that? Because they're hypocrites.
Right. And we can't go to these people and say, try to explain to them what
yeah.
a gun is, how it works, why when they cross the Delaware River and they're amongst thousands of people carrying guns, they're not shaking in their boots. But the thought of like someone carrying in the suburbs in New Jersey is like insane to them.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we can't approach it that way. And that's why one of the most critical, successful campaigns that this organization has had, to me, which I'm frankly shocked there's not been a more vitriolic response to, was the detective in Orange, right?
Yeah.
And that's a prime example of, we're not going in. Well, we went in and recorded this guy with a member that bravely and articulately got this detective in Orange to divulge all of this information about what he does with applicants.
I think divulging is a very polite word. He was bragging.
He was boasting.
He was boasting. He was boasting.
With no, what's the word I'm searching for? Like
no
reservations,
yeah,
like no fear, like
no fear of retaliation, of repercussions, and being reprimanded is the word, whatsoever.
And so we're in New Jersey, right? These politicians don't understand the legal rhetoric, so we're not going to have that conversation with them. That's not how we're going to approach them. We're going to go up to them. We're going to document them, whether it's with a camera or recording device, and we're going to present the conversation through their prism, the language they speak. What is that to today's modern progressive,
equality,
to the average New Jersey? Race issues, gender issues, equality, discrimination, all of those buzzwords you hear on Rutgers campus, all the time, right? So what did we do with this guy? We didn't go to him and say, I'm an American. This is my constitutional right. Let me tell you about some statistics from John Lott and quote the Second Amendment Foundation, and this is why I need my permit. That is, you might as well go smash your head against the wall if you think that's how you're going to get your permits here, right? So how can we show their hypocrisy? Well, what did this individual do? This individual was a handicapped person that had crutches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when he went to have this conversation, this guy started admitting that, well, I can't give you the permit. I might not give you the permit because of your condition. What is your condition? Yeah. Is it permanent? Is it going to change? As if somehow his disability would prevent him from having a Second Amendment.
And this guy's already a gun owner. Right? He's been a gun owner for years.
Can you imagine if you applied that logic to anything else in our life? Yeah. Hey, I'd like to apply for welfare, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you deaf? Yeah. Are you black? Are you going to be black forever or just today? Like, if we applied this rhetoric to anything else, there would be riots in every urban area in this state.
And the biggest thing, and this is what, I want everyone to focus about what this kind of, our strategy of results-oriented activism, about exposing the truth. And I think at that time, we were waiting approximately 6 months for Governor Christie's administration to respond. Governor Christie, after Carol Bound was murdered while she waited for her gun permit, put out an Executive Order 180 saying they're going to issue a what was it? It was a directive of some sort.
They had to have a panel, a task force.
A task force. Yeah, that's what it was.
I think that was the word.
I hate that word, task force. It just makes it out to sounding like they're going to be doing something big when it's reality. It's some government, buzzword that they use to.
Let's get this dean from Rutgers and this chief from some suburban town, and then this lobbyist, and let's get together.
And for those of you that remember, we were waiting. They said they were going to get it done within 30 days. 30 days. And I remember we argued about this when we were in. I
said, no way it's going to be 30 days. We waited a good 8 months.
It was something like that.
I think that it was announced in like May or June.
Yeah.
And then I actually think it was pushed by your videos, right?
Of course it was.
So it was December when they actually made the announcement. December 2016.
No, we had our press conference.
Right.
We finished everything up. We had about 20 towns that we've documented. We exposed them. We documented everything. We put everything on video, and we had a big press conference up in RTSP, one of our great sponsors and supporters, and exposed everything and put everything right there in black and white. And we said we're no longer going to wait for them. we're gonna make them react. And within 3 days, the governor's office put together his committee, which was supposed to be a public thing, but it was done in secrecy. And then 3 days later, they came out with this big 23-page commission.
And it was just a document. It wasn't like some
it was a
press conference.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was a 34-page report about everything that's going on in New Jersey. And if you go back and you read that document today, I would probably say probably 80% of all of that was talking about our videos and documenting everything that we exposed and the corruption that's going on in New Jersey.
And they cited the videos. The activism had a direct consequence, and it forced the governor's hand to release this study. Now, incrementally, it only pushed the laws like, say this is constitutional carry and this is de facto ban. It moved it like from here to here.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It forced their hand and forced them to acknowledge this and get it out the door.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, so what is it that was discussed in those videos, right? One of the things was at that time, and I was warning you about this, Christie was running for president in the Republican primary at the time. And I said, look, you better punch, metaphorically start hitting them now, because when he's out of the race, he's not going to care anymore, right? Yeah. It's going to become all right, I'm finishing out my last year and that's it. What did he do? He actually said in the debates, I want to say it was the one at the Reagan Library, it was one of the first ones, like, I'm actually a champion of the Second Amendment and I've expanded carry right. Yeah. So what do we do? What's our philosophy?
He actually discussed our videos and this is on a presidential campaign trail, right? And this is why it's important to keep the focus on certain issues and how to disseminate that information and push that narrative. And that was 5-6 years. No, that was 2015.
Yeah, because it was
2015. Yeah, that was 2015.
It was December.
But and we've grown tremendously since then. That I would love to have that opportunity to do that again, and we are working on that.
But here's the key difference, right? This is the problem with our community now that I'm going to discuss. It's we get caught up in, well, what is victory, right? What is victory? To some people, it's getting an impression in the media. To others, it's, well, let me just hang out with people and have fun. It's a social group. The thing about that video was he said those things at the debate about how he did all of this stuff for carry in New Jersey, which he didn't. Then a lot of people will go online, go on social networks, go on the radio and have this debate. He did do something. He didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's just yelling at each other. It's just white noise, and it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. No one's proven right. No one's proven wrong. And I told you, this is what you do. It's simple as pie. He said that he expanded carry rights, and now people can go get permits.
Yeah, I remember.
Don't have a debate. Don't put out an email. Don't put out a video. Don't have a discussion. Don't ask for comment from the press at the press corps at the governor's press conferences. Just go to the chiefs in a bunch of towns in New Jersey. Go to like 10 different towns. Put them on a video camera that they don't know is recording them and blatantly say, hey, last night the governor said I can get a carry permit. Now he expanded my rights. I'd like my carry permit, please. What can I do? And they all laughed at you. They all laughed at you. Yeah. See, you can't argue with that. There's no debate. Yeah. There's no discussion. You didn't do anything if every police chief in your state is calling you a liar and then making fun of you on camera.
Yeah.
Only a moron would still look at that and go, oh, yeah, maybe Christie really did do something. He didn't do anything, right? This is how we win. We can't have arguments about hypothetical things, about hearsay. We're going to come after you if you abridge our rights.
Yep.
We're going to document you. We're going to expose it, and we're going to give it out to our community for everyone to see.
Yeah, and the real critical part about that was how people criticized us because we weren't fighting, the usual way.
Yeah, let's defend the total shit situation we have right now where we can't do anything. Let's preserve that. Yeah. Let's keep that. You can't carry. You can't buy more than one gun a month. You're waiting 6 to 12 to 2 years, 6 to 12 months to get a permit. We have chiefs making up rules about additional restrictions they can put on your application process. What is there to preserve about this garbage? What are you happy about? Is anyone seriously happy being in this scenario?
What do you call that? Stockholm syndrome? It's like when we come, like we sympathize with our captors, right? Yeah. And I hear this from so many people that contact me that, well, my chief wants this, my chief wants that. Well, don't do it. that's against the law. Well, I don't want to rock the boat, and I don't want to get them upset. Like, imagine the state that we're in today, that we don't want to confront people, bureaucrats that are breaking the law, right, infringing on our rights, and being vocal about it. And I got to say, I got more respect and from the law enforcement community. I've shown you the emails that I've received from them.
Yep.
When we expose that, and you know what? We're not just victim of that. You know why I know that? Because even when I ask these cops and these chiefs and people in government to say, well, why don't you stand with us and we have a press conference, or we be vocal together to say we don't support this gun control. This is just a feel-good legislation.
That's it.
And
put it on them.
And
You want us to be on your side? Okay, be on my side.
Yeah.
Right. When we have these legislators saying no one's going to carry, and we're going to have these onerous restrictions, why don't you speak up to your PBA?
Because they're quick. They're quick to say the support of law enforcement is behind this. Blah 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 blah. But majority, I would probably say over 80% of the majority of law enforcement officers in New Jersey do not support the laws. I mean, I had the emails, I had the contacts. They reach out to me all the time. And you know what? Nothing ever happened when it came to any form of retaliation. And people respected NJ2AS more because of that, because we exposed them and showed the corruption that's going on with our system.
Right.
And this is from our own government. This is our own from the police officers to the police chiefs and so forth. A lot of them agree with us. They hate doing it. I was with a police officer 3 days ago, and I said, why don't you just support getting rid of all this bureaucracy and just support federal NICS? And they said, yeah, I completely agree with you. It would make my life a lot easier.
Right.
But if you ever ask them, this goes to show how corrupt the whole system is. If you ever ask them to do that publicly, it's a very different story, because now they can get fired, they can be retaliated against, right? But every time I go to one of these meetings by the opposition, and you know who those people are, they are surrounded by these gun control bigots, these that are police officers, that are police chiefs, that are sheriffs, and so forth, because it makes them feel good. They're not afraid of any type of retaliation. And that's the kind of stuff that irks me, because we're being held captive.
So what are we going to do, right? We're not going to sit here complaining anymore, right? We're not going to pontificate for more podcasts about this.
Yeah.
We have a mission statement.
Yep.
Every bit of activism we do, like I said before, it's not a social club. It's not a hunting club. All of those things are great. They have their place. That's not what you're doing. You're about, how can we achieve results? How can we move the ball so that we are in a better situation next year than we are today? Right?
Exactly.
And if what it takes, even if it's small incremental victories like Jackson, right? Or like these other towns where we'll see some action very soon.
And Jackson's still going on.
Exactly. We can't say all the details yet.
We can't say all the details yet. We're going to...
Which is a favorite line of the...
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. No. I'm actually holding right here the complaint. It's a 6-page complaint that we're filing up. Don't show it.
It's all right. This is airing tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, that we're filing in response to the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office contacting us, and it's a 6-page complaint in response to them. And you know what? And this is the point. First of all,
what's it? Give the background. Don't say the details, but
okay.
Why did this?
First
what's
of all,
the genesis of this?
It's a victory, right? And this victory completely contradicts what they're telling us. Why? Because if the police chief believed in the strength of his convictions, he would still keep requiring people to get fingerprinted. And for those that are not aware, we went after a town in Jackson Township, New Jersey, that was requiring people to get re-fingerprinted every 2 years to exercise their constitutional right.
How do you know that?
Well, we sent people in. They documented it. We got many reports about this.
Oh, so you have documentation of people getting told they had to do their fingerprints every 2 years.
And we have the paperwork.
This is documented.
I'm
going to say it one more time, Alexander.
It's on.
Is this documented?
It's documented, black and white.
It's very important to remember that.
And here's something that a lot of people don't know that we didn't really put out. We went to the police departments. We asked for these documents. They said, no, you have to be a resident of Jackson. Okay, fine. Why why
the secrecy?
Yeah, why the secrecy?
Why is there this veil of secrecy about a right that everyone? Can you imagine if I said, "Hey, I'm from so and so town. I'm from X town, and I go to Y town." And I go, "Well, what's the pool permitting process like?" Well, we can't tell you because you don't live here.
Yeah.
Well, it's public info. If I really wanted to go put in a FOIA request, I could find it out. So what's the secrecy about?
Ironically, after we did our releases of videos in 2015, that was their new policy.
Right.
Was it because of us? Probably. I don't have definite proof about it, but knowing how the police chief now operates in Jackson, I can completely see why that'd be the case. So we did what's called an OPRA request in New Jersey, Open Public Records Act, where you have the legal right, as you should, to be able to get information from the government. So we put that request in, and then sure enough, we got it. And then, in their response, they were kind of like, "Oh, but all this information's available online. Why are you wasting our time?" In essence, that basically.
Why are you wasting my time with the permitting process?
Yeah.
Why don't you just stick to the 2 documents that the state tells me I have to fill out? You're wasting your own time by making all of these additional restrictions.
So, listen. When we break the law, they put us in jail for 10 years, right? But when they break the law, they expect us to...
You have to sue them.
Yeah, we have to sue them, or we have to write them a nice letter or beg and blah, 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 whatever. Most of the people watching this are probably very familiar with the bureaucracy. So we just filed a complaint with the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office to say we believe there's criminal activity going on here, right? And in New Jersey, we have a statute called official misconduct, and it could work. The statute of limitation is 7 years. So I don't care if they change the policy. I'm just saying they were breaking the law, right? They were breaking the law. So sure enough, when we went to the council meeting to speak up about this, they, the council president, Rob Nixon, advised me that the chief advised him that this policy is no longer being enforced and nobody has to get refingerprinted again. And sure enough, the day or two after that, the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office contacted me, but you'll see the complaint tomorrow. We'll get this stuff out. I just want to file it first officially. We're sending it certified mail. It's there. We'll put it up on our website. But it's more of like exposing the fact that they did no investigation. They just made one phone call to the state police, right? And what do you think the state police is going to say when you say, listen, we got a complaint here that could potentially charge this police chief with official misconduct? Is this against the law or not? And what are they going to say? Oh, no, it's, charge this police chief, right? So we're expecting them to investigate themselves and find themselves guilty of something, right? How absurd is that?
Look, at the end of the day, this is the New Jersey Second Amendment society. A society made up of members, supporters, activists, donors, right? It doesn't matter how big or large. We have plans for big battles.
Yeah.
To me, the kingpin...
This is part of the big battle.
This is part. The kingpin, to me, is Carrie.
Yeah,
and we have a big plan for Carrie in the next year that we're going to implement.
Yes.
And we're going to start doing results-oriented activism where we document people, and we're gonna find out who's racist.
Yeah.
We're going to find out who's sexist.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about
who
anti-gun people.
has permits.
Yeah, we're going to find about the people that we know have permits who tell you can't have a permit.
Yeah.
And we're going to expose
and we already have them,
all of that.
Yeah.
But on a small level, these victories are equally important. It may be a little further down the line in terms of importance, but the ability to even apply and get your FID is important. It's valuable, right? And so Jackson is a prototype. We're going to do this.
It's not a prototype because part of that process, you know me, I'm not naive enough to think, oh gosh, we're going to expect them to charge each other of crimes. We know that's not going to happen.
That's not the point.
But it's about exposing. It's about documenting.
Everybody in their government fiefdom doesn't want attention.
Yeah,
they don't want anybody with cameras. They don't want reporters asking anything. They don't want attention. So if you're going to break the rules and cause people's rights to be abridged, we're going to give you that attention. And that's what we're going to do.
And the word is conspiracy. If you can prove that the people that break the rules are not being investigated or prosecuted by the people that are supposed to investigate the rule breakers and the people that don't follow the law, private citizens or government officials, and it's a concurrent conspiracy with prosecutors' offices, the attorney general's office, there's federal agencies, right, that actually are designed to investigate these things. And that's all part of the process. And that's why it's important. I keep telling people, and people keep telling me, well, it's not going to change anything. Well, yes, it is. If we document ABC, there could be some type of result from this from other agencies that are designed to prove that, including federal and private lawsuits that we can file against these agencies.
Right. And this is not going to be a podcast. We're doing this as a way of opening the lines of communication and being transparent with our members in the society, right?
Yep.
This is about having our shirts open and showing you how your hard-earned money is being invested in this fight. this podcast is not going to be about, cracking jokes or socializing or complaining about the situation in New Jersey. We're doing that in the first episode because we're kind of setting everything up. We're setting the table. However, my goal, and I hope, your goal, Alexander, is every time we get on here to speak to you and speak to the people in our community, it's about a new result, incremental progress, and incremental rights for us that are going in the right direction. And if we're not getting that incremental progression, we're showing what steps we're taking to get there.
Yeah. And the perfect way of tying that in is when you see, first of all, I don't think there's anybody that can claim that they got these forms of responses, and I've shown you some of them, from the police chief, right? Like, it's comical.
I almost feel bad. It is awkward.
It's awkward.
It'll all come out eventually. It is just weird. Like,
it boggles my mind. It blows my mind that this individual is even a public official, let alone the police chief of a very large municipality, town in New Jersey. Right. And it just blows my mind. How did these people even get there? And it goes to show everything you've always talked about is when you shine light to it, right? These people are so accustomed to getting away with everything, right? To never, ever have any pushback or be challenged. And these people are like, they believe they're, just dictators that know, but how dare you question me?
And there's a reason for that, right? Here's why the script is getting flipped. Politicians, the bureaucrats in New Jersey, whatever facet of government they're in, they're used to putting out the rules, setting the laws, arresting people, whatever, facet of government we're talking about. And then the people respond to them. Mm-hmm. They ignore them, right? We're flipping the script now. We're not going to respond to people.
Exactly.
We're not going to press conferences to record what they say and then trying to ask a question.
Oh, no, I like press conferences.
I don't. They're a waste of time. Instead, we're going to find malice. We're going to find the corruption.
Yeah.
We're going to find the abuse. We're going to document it and expose it and make them respond to us. That's the critical difference. When the narrative is put out against them, they have to defend themselves. And that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to win, how we're going to progress in this world. Even if it's one town at a time, it doesn't matter. There's valuable, there's brothers and sisters of ours in Jackson, and they're one of the first
There's
towns
the flaw when people, the flaw in logic when people say, well, it's just one town. It doesn't matter. Right?
It's a domino effect.
It's a domino effect because when you punish...
We've already had people surrounding Jackson in their police forces approach us and go, we promise we will never do... We're not going to say any names. There's multiple people already telling us, we will never do this. We're on your side. Great. And this is not about threatening people, right? We're not the obnoxious jerks here.
Yeah.
They're the ones setting up rules they're not supposed to be implementing. We're just telling them to stop. Right? Yeah. We're telling them to do their job the way the state has already prescribed them to do.
And one of the law enforcement officers joked with us like, "Oh, you'll be very proud to know we're NJ2AS compliant," without us even checking.
You're not NJ2AS compliant. You're New Jersey state law compliant.
Yeah,
we're not the government. Yeah. We can't make rules. We're just pointing to the rules and saying this is all you're allowed to do. Don't do anything more than this, please. Well, it's not my fault that you're making this stuff up.
It's probably a little better because they, the state law says you have to get permits done within 30 days. Nobody abides by that. It's a bunch of BS. But we have friends that are NJ2AS members that get their permits done in 10 to 12 days.
We know that that's the case, right? But again, this is what I say before. We just talk about it. We don't show it. We should have a map on your website with every municipality. And every time someone that's a member, you should have to have like a login, be one of our supporters, one of our members. Every time they put in a FID permit or a permit to purchase a handgun, they should be able to put their not their SBI number, but put some kind of mark there that starts a timer. And everybody that goes on the NJ2AS website should be able to see, hey, in this town, there's 60 pending permits that have a lifespan of 60 days, 90 days. And there should be a clock running. And the worst offending towns should be like red, and all the other ones should be orange and yellow. See, it's stuff like this. We're going to bring attention. We're not going to talk about it. Everyone knows that there's abuse of permits in New Jersey. Yeah. We're going to show it. Everyone knows you can't get a carry permit. We're going to show the racism and the discrimination from those politicians who prevent you from getting a carry permit. And who are carrying themselves.
I know
which
that.
is the most disgusting part. Or when they run into Trenton behind a wall of 60 state troopers and metal detectors, and they're pontificating on a microphone while they're protected by dozens of firearms. Let's stop talking. Let's start doing. Let's make them react to us.
That's actually a really good idea. But ironically, the state police has even said, well, now we're going to start tracking these things ourselves. We're going to get reports on the time frame of what is taking people longer and all that stuff. Let's be realistic here. You get your fingerprints. It's done by MorphoTrack. It's done instantaneously. You get the FBI records back, within a day or two. That's what the FBI has told us.
It's like someone sends you an email and you're like, oh, I didn't receive the email yet. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
It got there in 5 seconds. Like, you're just not looking for it. So, look, at the end of the day, I have a philosophy of, like, there's a dragon, right? This huge dragon breathes fire, has wings and claws, but it's got a head at the top. I want to aim for the head. Like, to me, Carrie is the most important thing.
Of course,
if you can make the whole stigma with Carrie fall down by exposing the hypocrisy of these politicians, all the other stuff kind of falls into place, especially with all the pending litigation there would be. We have big plans for Carrie. Because, look, you would have said that 10 years ago, oh, Chicago, you'll never be able to carry there. Yeah. Illinois has Carrie
now. Yeah.
But there's really only like 5 or 4 states that
even Hawaii's doing better than New Jersey is now.
Even California has more liberated, carry privileges by county and all that. Even there, you can do it. It's really a select few states that are like us that you essentially, it's a de facto ban. You don't get it. Unless you're the friend of a politician or, a celebrity.
Well, okay, so like adding to the carry story, right? There's been great people doing great work in documenting their carry application process, showing that nobody gets their permits. And that's kind of part of the whole response from the Attorney General's office. Like, oh, well, 98% of the people that apply for a carry permit have gotten their permits. It's not there's no infringement going on here.
That's the narrative they're using because people are afraid to get rejected and don't apply. In the state, we have under 2,000, right?
1,200 or something. Yeah,
I think it's 1,900 active carry permits. That includes law enforcement.
Yeah.
So there's way more than 1,900 retired police officers. There's got to be somewhere around that much at least.
No, they retire and get the hell out of New Jersey.
That's a good point. They probably don't stick around. But just think about it. 1,900.
Would you?
I don't even know why I'm here right now, to be honest. But anyway, if we had, anybody could apply, it'd be way more than 1,900 people.
Yeah.
So yes, they can stand on this leg of, well, no one's getting rejected. We have a 99% approval rating. And that's part of our mission.
And part of Governor and remember this, and part of Governor Christie's directive, right? That, by the way, I'm going to put this out. The Governor Murphy has removed all traces of that report that shined concealed carry permit holders.
He overturned that right away.
No. I'm not talking about overturning it.
Oh.
If you go to the website, where the all that information was listed, all the positives about concealed carrying a gun, how women that are victims of domestic violence should have priority and be able to get their permits and so forth, all traces of that have been deleted from the New Jersey state government's website.
They don't care about women, dude. That's just
it's not a matter. No.
It's just a platitude they say.
It's revisionist history. That's what
revisionist.
Yeah, I just made that word up.
It just hurts like 1,000 people's ears when they heard that.
This. No, they literally revise history. They just removed all trace of that part of history. They don't want any of that stuff on New Jersey.
Sounds like a war on women.
Yeah, it sounds like a war on a lot of things. Yeah. But the fact is that in that report by Governor Christie, which can also be used in lawsuits, they specifically stated and cited our videos and our content, saying this. First of all, that they didn't want to give us credit because they called us an advocacy organization.
Right.
We're much bigger than a little advocacy organization. But what they did, they cited our videos and said this advocacy organization went to.
English is his second language. So give him. It's mine too, actually. But
they went to.
I paid attention in school.
Yeah, I didn't. I was too busy. I can't even say that I was on Facebook. That's pretty scary.
What were you busy doing that you didn't pay attention?
I was a big car geek when I was growing up.
It's really funny. I know we discovered this already. We weren't gun guys.
Neither
of us. When did you touch a gun the first time where you shot one?
May 26, 2011.
That's crazy. Like, it's been practical, real life experiences. Yours a little more. I had a few run-ins too myself when I was carrying a firearm, but it's been practical, real life experiences that brought us to this. We weren't nurtured by like some prototypical right-wing conservative household that would have been, had a predilection for firearms. No, like we were brought upon this community by circumstance, by environmental factors that drove us in this direction.
No, if you, I'll talk about my family history another time. But going back,
no, we're not going to talk about family history. This is about results.
Results, yeah.
How are we going to move forward?
So the point is that by documenting these cases, the Governor Christie at the time, his commission put together the report, and it cited and it detailed all the analysis and they even agreed it's a de facto ban, that you're never going to get it. Like the woman from Edison told us, you're never going to get it. You can apply, but you're never going to get it. And
go and watch the video from the Christie debate on the YouTube channel. What's the name of that video? It was like Christie
Lies to the Nation.
Christie Lies to the Nation. And just watch all of the towns. Some of it is like the clerk. Some of them is the chief coming out and talking to us.
I remember that.
I think
Upper
Saddle River, the chief.
Upper Saddle River.
Actually, it's really funny because he goes to the window and they have their like desk clerk guy there, and the chief overhears him behind the glass.
I totally forgot about it.
Blindsides him like from the right, and the camera turns and it's like, oh, what are you here talking about? Oh, I heard from Christie, blah, blah. And the video goes from there, and he's like, we don't give, nobody gets that. He goes, I gave that once to one guy because of whatever reason.
Well, listen, here's the point. In the Young case, which is the case in the Ninth Circuit, that's challenging the concealed carry laws of Hawaii, the judges are specifically sitting there, three of the judges, a three-panel judge, and they're asking the district attorney, whatever they call the person, and not the attorney general's office, but I think they're called district attorneys in Hawaii. Anyway, so they're saying, well, how many permits have you issued to regular civilians? Well, none. And so the judges go, so it's a ban, and they're like, no, it's not a ban. We have a process that you can apply.
Yeah, if you've never done it,
have you watched this case?
I have.
Yeah. It's hilarious. So they're literally
hilarious.
Anyway, so it's so this guy's trying to think he can outsmart the judges, the three judges, and by saying, well, we have an application, we have a way of applying, and the judges say, well, okay, how many permits have you approved? And the guy goes, well, 0. And so
I just said this.
I know, but they go back and forth for like 3-4 minutes.
Right, it's to show the circular nature.
Yeah, and then they're like, so it's a ban, and the guy goes, no, it's not a ban. We have a way you can apply, but nobody satisfies the requirements. So of course they overturned it. They said this is a de facto ban on concealed carry, on the right to be able to protect yourself, and this is in the Ninth Circuit in Hawaii. Right. Like we're not talking about like Texas somewhere. We're talking about Hawaii. But the fact that they were able to document it and expose these kind of issues, that I think if we take these cases, these stories, and these videos and use it for the courts in the future, and keep doing it and keep bringing these stories to light. I know a lot of great people that have applied, and unfortunately, we can't help everybody. And unfortunately, there's hundreds of people that contact us every month. I need to get a concealed carry permit, and they have very compelling cases. And guess what? The state of New Jersey says, no thanks, we're not going to give you one. Right. Even having legitimate documented threats on their life, they're still not going to get a permit. But it's important because we can take those stories and bring it outside of New Jersey and overturn these ridiculous laws that are literally causing innocent people to die every single day.
Right. So where is this going to take us, right? What is the purpose of all of this? We understand, when we ask for your support, that some of the things we're asking people to do, right, our best activists are the ones that go in the field and document what they see. Yeah. And we have a few people that have done that in an amazing fashion. That have made an enormous impact in this state and been cited by our governor or former governor, right? Yeah. We understand that not everyone's born that way to be that ballsy and be able to go out and do stuff like that. And we sympathize with that. Everybody's different. At the end of the day, if you're a member, re-up your membership. Support us again. If you're not a member, join us. Come and see the impact and join us for the big win and be part of this, transformative process where we're going to change the way that people look at Second Amendment rights in New Jersey.
Absolutely. I mean, this is something I do on a personal level. It is something we do. Like, it's 8:00 tonight. 8 o'clock.
No one gets paid. No one draws a salary. No one's taking any money, not $1 out of this organization. Money, probably. That is not going towards activism or something towards the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's about. I mean, that's exactly what it's about. So, I'm just asking everybody, let's work together on these issues. It doesn't matter what your skill set is. I mean, look, we were the biggest problem with getting this stuff off the ground, we're having sound issues, we're having video issues. I wasn't able to figure everything out. And just talking about the camaraderie, talking about unity, I put out a message on our Firearms NJ Facebook page.
Right.
I said, I'm like, you're nagging me every day, like a little, whatever, like worse than my ex-girlfriend probably. When are we doing this?
I can make, right?
When are we doing this? Are we going to record tonight? I'm like, yeah, I got to get this done. Anyway, so the point was, so I just said, by chance, are there any sound engineers that are on this page that could help us out, set up our sound? I'm getting this horrible hum. It's not going away. It's causing an issue with the recordings and all that stuff. I don't want to come out with junk. I really don't. That's why I was really, adamant about getting all the great equipment, getting a really good, nice backdrop. We've had a fantastic supporter donate this amazing sign to us. I got to say,
it's beautiful.
Everybody comes in, is like, dude, that's a really cool sign. Where do I get one? But sure enough, like a bunch of people started messaging me.
Is that from a business?
Yeah,
you should post that business.
I'm definitely gonna. Give
them some.
I'm gonna give them a shout out. They're definitely gonna be on the page. They're definitely gonna be working with us, and I'm gonna give them a shout out. But the point was that I had like a bunch of people reach out to me, like sound engineers, sound experts,
and someone came to your house,
and you were here.
Yeah. Look, there's no more kind, generous, salt of the earth people than firearm people.
Yeah, of course.
I have never in my life ever, and I've been to ranges in multiple states. I've been everywhere. I've never seen a mean gun person in my life. They will literally give you the shirt off their back.
Yeah.
I've been to, my uncle belongs to a trap range nearby that I go to sometimes with my family. And I've brought my wife and my sister there before, who you can tell are like a little more novice. And there's just sweethearts of gentlemen that come out and will be willing to help them, teach them, let them use their stuff, show them. They're the nicest people in the world.
So the point, so like that's the kind of stuff. Like, you don't have to. We're not asking you to go into police departments. If you can, great. Please contact us. Reach out to me. Reach out to NJ2AS. Get us.
Those are the most important people.
Yeah, those are really
Activists.
The most important people.
Yeah.
Because just a couple of days ago, I had another woman contact me, and she's like, I just got a phone call from the police department that my permit's done. But she asked her what took so long. She's like, oh well, the chief waits till he gets a bunch of them before he processes them all.
If it's not recorded, it didn't happen.
So I guess what I
have to record everything.
So I said, what kind of phone do you have? She said, I have an iPhone. Perfect. So do I. Easiest thing. I said, put your phone on airplane mode. How do I do that? Swipe up the screen, type the little airplane icon. It turns off all communication. Just open your camera and record. Go to the desk and say, what were you telling me about something taking so long? And sure enough,
they repeated it.
She went to the table. She went to the thing. Hi, I'm here to pick up my permit. Great. By the way, what were you telling me about the chief waiting? And oh yeah, he waits till he gets a stack of, or a bunch. I forgot the word that she used. Because it's a lot easier processing them one by one.
And listen,
where does that exist? Imagine you went to the DMV and they said, we're not going to process your license because we don't
We've
have
only had 50 people come today.
Right.
We need 1,000 people to come.
Yeah.
Look, this isn't underhanded. This isn't sneaky. This isn't mean. These are your rights. And if they're just not going to do their job, okay, we're going to document them. We're going to show people that they're not doing their job. Can you imagine if welfare checks in New York City were just put on hold until 50,000 people come in? We're not cutting anybody
checks. Why are you picking
checks.
on New York City?
Because that's where we live. And that's where way more welfare checks getting cut there than anywhere else.
We live in New Jersey, not New York City.
It's a hypothetical example.
Anyway, so the point was that the point
is don't feel bad.
And you don't, we're going to use that, right, to file a complaint, to document this, right? And this woman did nothing more than just put out her phone, put it on airplane mode, record the woman saying, oh yeah, the chief waits for this and that. That would never exist in any other aspect of civilization where you have to, wait for a stack of people to apply. So that goes to show exactly what it is. And don't think that your name's going to be public or not. There's plenty of ways of documenting things and being anonymous, right? New Jersey has fantastic whistleblower laws and so forth. But you don't have to be nervous. You don't have to be scared about it. Before I forget, because I don't know if I'm going to mention his last name, but yes, we had a great guy come out. His name is Ed. He helped us out with the sound.
Great
guy. And just like in 2 hours, we set up everything. Did the sound balancing. He brought a cable tester, tested cables, tested the camera, tested everything. Probably something that most people would charge thousands of dollars to do. That he just came in. He's a member, said, hey, I love what you guys are doing.
That's why this group is amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody, they're brothers and sisters. selflessly giving up their time. Again, no one's getting paid. If he has a problem, he puts out a message and 10 people respond, hey, I can help you. Let me come in. I'm an expert in this. That's what this is all about. So the number one asset is Activism. That is the vehicle that lets us expose what's going on and get the message out and overturn laws and overturn departments that are abusing your rights. That is the number one thing. But if that's not your thing, if you're a little scared, if you're worried about repercussions, we get that. Support us financially. If you can't be a person that will document things, help us so that we can send other people to do it and get the word out. That is how we can change things. It'll start with towns like Jackson. I mean, look, this didn't start with Jackson. You've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah, we've done this. I have a whole folder there.
Because that's the most recent one, but you've been doing that on a large scale for almost a decade now.
Yeah, we've had over 26 towns become compliant because of our activism. A couple of little things happened, kind of fell on the back burner.
The pivot
I'm not going to get into the politics of that.
The pivot is now it's going to get up close and personal.
Yeah,
everything we do is about documentation. Everything we do is about capturing the fraud, right? And when it's captured, we're going to divulge it. We're going to show it. And if people don't want to comply with the law, and this is not about police, it's about anybody that's working for the government. If they don't want to comply, that's fine. We're going to document you, and we're going to divulge it. And
we're going to expose it.
We're going to force it to get changed because I'm tired. What do we have to lose? Like, what more? What position? What are we preserving here? There's nothing to preserve. We're already in metaphorical hell. Right? You can't do anything in this state. If you make one innocent mistake, you're going to state's prison with minimum mandatory laws. What are we preserving? Why are we being nice? Why are we being scared? Okay? It's time to move things around.
I can't tell you how many people I talk about this, and they call us up with problem after problem. I said, all right.
Don't tell us about it. Document it, and then send it to
me. And I say, here's how we can help you guys. Well, I don't want to do that. That might
okay, well, enjoy the situation.
No. This always happens. That might take off the prosecutor, or that might make the police chief upset. And then I'm like, well, listen,
it's going to stay that way.
And I always tell them, they will throw the book at you. Why? Because at the end of the year, these prosecutors and these other government bureaucrats have these little dinners where they give each other awards for, and I've been to these things. I've documented these things. I've been to these events where they give each other awards for, so-and-so took 76 guns off the street and blah, blah, blah. You don't know the circumstances of that. Was it just like you and me stopping at a Wawa to grab a water, or
it was a buyback where people voluntarily give them,
their
and then
guns
they
back?
Say they took guns off the street. No, you took like 5 Lugers off some grandma whose husband died in World War II, and those things are probably really expensive. And I guarantee you didn't burn them. Somebody kept that thing.
Somebody kept that thing. So that's the whole point. Is they'll put us in jail. They will throw us through the ringer, and sure enough, these people call me back 3, 4, 6 months later. Oh, hi, I don't know if you remember me.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember me about this and that. And, they made me an offer 3 years. Is there anything we can do? And I'm like, listen, we're so far down the path now that, these plea bargains, these PTI offers, it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's so hard to backtrack now. Where the people where we have stood up and we have fought for have surprisingly gotten automatic PTI. Have automatically got certain charges dismissed, have gotten Graves Act waivers, which is another big one that our lawyers have helped people get. And, that's the kind of thing, because once you shine light to it, because these bureaucrats, they go to the court, they go to their jobs, they do that, they never get any pushback. They get rewarded for demonizing guns and making people that want to own guns look bad.
Look, those situations are tragic, and I'm not diminishing any of them. Everything you're talking about right now is defense.
Yeah.
This is not a defensive organization. We're not a legal organization.
Yeah.
We do engage in
I try not to be, but we have to.
We engage in legal actions occasionally, but that is not our mission statement. That is not the crux of what we do.
Yeah.
We are here to go on the off. How do you get your oppressor to stop oppressing you?
Yeah.
Right? We're always on defense. They're always telling us what we can't do and, putting us in jail for breaking some technicality of a law. You get out of being on defense by going on offense.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's exactly. I always tell people we're looking to, kind of stop the hemorrhaging. To stop being so reactive and be more proactive on these things, because I'm sick and tired of always being on defense. Why are we in Trenton? Why are we always waiting for them to have a bill at the governor's desk to say, let's go protest in Trenton.
That's what I always say.
We should be.
You've already lost at that, right? It's an arithmetic
Yeah.
game. We don't have the legislative votes to win any kind of debate about a bill. So if they conjure up some bill and send it to committee, we lost.
Yeah.
It's over already.
And
no matter how many hundreds of people you send to Trenton in the rain and with signs, and that's all wonderful. That's all this is. It's feel good stuff.
Well,
it doesn't do.
I don't mind doing that, but when we're celebrating a victory,
I will never do that. I'm done with that.
But when we're celebrating a victory,
celebrating a victory is another
an
thing.
analogy that I always like to use is people are talking. The house is burning down, and people are talking about redecorating the kitchen. I want to stop that fire, and then we can celebrate, and then we can go out there and do the other things that celebrate these successes.
Why don't we stop reacting and going to Trenton whenever they invent 5 new bills, to oppress us with? Why don't we go find a politician who maybe has some racist views about minorities having guns?
Watch for our videos. We're gonna put those videos out.
Maybe there's someone that thinks certain minority groups shouldn't have firearms because they're not mentally capable of having them. Not my words.
Yeah.
Right?
We're working on that.
Why don't we just show a video of them saying that and then ask the community? See, the key to this is that battle then, that story is not about guns. Yeah. It's about racism or discrimination. And everyone, even the idiots that don't know about firearms, can understand it. And they can go, whoa, that's not cool.
Yeah.
I may not like this, but I may not be a gun person, but that's not cool what that guy said.
Exactly.
And that's how we get light bulbs to go off, because that does happen in New Jersey.
We did this a few months ago. I haven't even released the videos. That's how busy we've been. If any of you guys are good video editors and people that can help us writing up these stories, and one guy reached out to me yesterday. He's a writer for another magazine. He wants to help out and so forth. But we went down. There was an individual that contacted me. I met him at a meeting. And, he's an African-American that was put in jail for 35 days, spent 18 months after that proving that his guns were lawfully owned and he wasn't committing any crimes. So I said, you know what, why don't you come down with me to Trenton? We went down to Trenton. I started confronting all these politicians. Your laws put this innocent black man in jail for 35 days.
And they're probably like,
and they were. And, they did exactly what...
shows you they're full of shit.
They either ran away, they were stuttering, they didn't know how to, I'm not going to, and then all of a sudden, they were on defense, and we were the one pushing the narrative.
I couldn't imagine, I'm like a libertarian-leaning person, right? I couldn't imagine anything that, say I was an elected official, and I was an assemblyman. There is nothing that you could come up to me and say where I would suddenly just get spastically uncomfortable, right? What could someone possibly say to you that you hold such hypocritical views that there's something people can say to you that just causes you to convulse, and you don't want to respond because you're contradicting yourself.
Listen, the problem with that story was, we had a couple sources. I needed to verify the information that they were providing me, as any good journalist would. And we were able to finally verify it. I found the source of this information, of this racist propaganda and these racist blackface posters being used. So we finally confirmed everything. I can't wait to release those videos, because everything we're discussing and we execute it in Trenton, it's proof that it works. It's proof that it works.
That's the new way.
Yeah.
They set up those parameters that's social justice, and frankly, in my opinion, all this nonsense that they believe in. That's the parameters in which we govern our society now. I'm going to take the Saul Alinsky approach. Yeah. Fine. I'll take your rules, and we're going to make you live up to them. Yeah. We're not going to have a debate about guns anymore. You want to talk about race? Fine. We're going to show you how racist these politicians are. That's not hyperbole. They are racist. They are racist. They don't want minorities having a constitutional right that their security and the police officers that protect them have when they're in the State House. Exactly. So we're not gonna debate them about the merits and the constitutionality of the Second Amendment. We're just going to show you how discriminatory they are.
Let's start wrapping up. Something that Daniel and I were arguing about before we started doing this today was, what are we going to name our show? I personally love the name Fight Every Day.
We're going to leave it up in the air.
Let's leave it up in the air. But I'm just saying, I love the naming the show. Call it Fight Every Day.
I think that's a terrible name.
Well, why? Because every day we should be fighting for the Second Amendment. We should be fighting for America and preserving our liberties.
Let's get some feedback. We're going to throw the email when we upload the video. Tell us what you think.
Yep.
If you have something you want us to address, if there's a controversy, if there's something you think we're not talking about, we're an open book. Like I said, this organization, our shirts are open.
Yeah.
There's nothing to hide. There's not $1 getting paid to any individual. All money goes towards activism and results, right? We're here to push the ball down the field. If you have anything you want to ask us that you want us to address, tell us. If you have a suggestion for a name of the show, tell us. If there's something you'd like to see us talk about, tell us. We're an open book. But we're not coming on here to talk unless we have news for you about something
results,
that's progressed in our movement.